Jeffrey Dahmer Halloween costumes are being removed by eBay. A Massachusetts woman unleashed bees on arresting officers, and a Mexican priest known as Father Pistolas has been suspended. These are the weird stories for Wednesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian. I have 3 strange news segments from around the world. Let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, we're going to jump into it. Let's jump. For my love. eBay is removing Jeffrey Dahmer Halloween costumes. Online shoppers hoping to score some Jeffrey Dahmer-inspired gear for Halloween are now officially out of luck this season because eBay has pulled the plug on all costume pieces and costumes that pay homage to the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. A spokesperson for eBay told the media that the company has policies that prohibit listings glorifying hate, violence, and criminal activities, and that the Jeffrey Dahmer sales clearly fit this bill and description. The eBay official policy on their website says there's no space for, quote, items closely associated with or that benefit violent felons, their acts, or crime scenes within the past 100 years. I love how they have like a cutoff of 100 years. So if you want to glorify violence that's older than 100 years, go right ahead with your Vlad the Impaler Halloween costume. Or Genghis Khan memorabilia. That's okay. Now, in case you're unaware, there's been a very popular Netflix series about Jeffrey Dahmer. And so, of course, recently, online, a lot of Halloween costumes and gear inspired by Jeffrey Dahmer have been on sale, specifically on eBay. Everything from his distinct glasses, a blonde wig, and a shirt similar to the one worn by Evan Peters on the show. Not only were people online up in arms over the tone-deaf costume choice, but the families of the victims see it as triggering as well. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure they're not too pleased to see the Netflix series as well, and the way that people have interpreted it. Definitely glorifying Dahmer. We always do that with serial killers in the culture, though. I'm not sure why. What is the allure of serial killers? It's crazy to me. And if I can just speak on behalf of Halloween, this Jeffrey Dahmer costume is lame anyways. What, you're a white guy with glasses? This is your costume? I mean, this is stupid. Like, Halloween brings the opportunity for you to get very creative with your costume, and you're going to be a guy in a shirt with blonde hair? That's what that's what you're going to be? Really? You know, you could be a zombie gorilla if you want. I mean, cosplay. I mean, get with it, man. This is the lamest costume ever. Halloween is one of those times when you can really do it. I'm going to tell you a costume that I had one year. It was a regular guy. It was Hunter Thompson. Hunter Thompson from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Do you remember that film? The glasses, the bucket hat, long cigarette, Hawaiian sort of shirt. But I took it another notch. I made it a zombie Hunter Thompson because I think just being a guy in a hat and a shirt and cigarette is lame. So I went zombie Hunter Thompson. Halloween gives you the option. You have this. This is the night to go buck wild with a costume. You're going to be a guy in glasses. I mean, how uncreative can you be, for crying out loud? That's the end of my rant anyways. What do you guys think about this? You think websites like eBay taking down Halloween costumes that are offensive is something that, should be happening? Call the show, 646-450-2012. A Massachusetts woman is being charged for attacking the police with beehives during an eviction. This is wild. And I'm going to use a Massachusetts accent for your listening pleasure, of course. A Hadley, Massachusetts woman is facing charges. What are the charges? Well, she tried using beehives to attack the county sheriff's deputies. That's right, beehives. That is a very strange choice of weapon, beehives. I never thought to use such things. Then again, I don't own beehives. Is she a beekeeper? I have a lot of questions. Let's unpack this crazy story coming out of Massachusetts, huh? Now, according to the police report, last week, the Hampden County Sheriff's Department went to the home of Rory Susan Woods, who's 55 years old. It was an ongoing eviction, so the police showed up for an eviction. Rory Susan Woods was not home. Where was this Massachusetts lady? Well, they found out soon enough when she pulled up in a Nissan Xterra. Rory Susan Woods left her dog in the car and immediately went to the beehives that she was towing behind her SUV. So she's towing a bunch of beehives in boxes. She tried to open the lids of these boxes to unleash the bees. Unleash the bees! That's when the sheriff's deputy tried to stop Woods from unleashing the bees. But she made the bees angry anyways, and they started to circle the area. The bees are circling the area. Woods then smashed the lid and flipped a beehive off the flatbed of the truck, which made the bees very aggressive. The bees, of course, were not very pleased by the way they were being treated, so of course they stung several police officers and bystanders who were watching nearby all of this unfold. Woods put on a professional beekeeper suit to protect herself. When did she have time for that? She should have had the beekeeper suit on when she drove up. Okay, so then she runs and puts on the beekeeper suit, and then she carried a whole tower of bees near the front door of the home. She put the bees in front of her home to try to stop the eviction, which has been ongoing for nearly 2 years. Now, while she had the boxes of bees at the front door, all right, she tried to agitate the bees more and more by smashing the side of the boxes. But then she was arrested by sheriff's deputies and booked at the Western Massachusetts Regional Women's Correctional Facility. Yeah, but how did the officers grab her? How did that all happen? I mean, it would seem to me like those bee swarms would keep you away. Do the police have spare beekeeper uniforms in their trunks? I got a lot of questions here. I'm going to keep reading. Oh, there's a picture of her. She doesn't look pleased to be evicted. Wow, there's photos of the bee boxes as well and her being arrested. Wow, this is outlandish. She's being arrested in a beekeeper uniform. How humiliating. Wow, and a lot of bees on the back of this truck. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 boxes. No, there's more because there's some on the ground. There's like 10 or 12 bee boxes. Wow, bee boxes. Unbelievable. Wow, this is like a major sting operation. Get it? Sting, guys? Huh? Come on now. Jump on my bad joke train. We have a quote from a chief deputy. Never in all my years of leading the Hampden County Sheriff's Civil Process Division have I seen something quite like this. We truly try to help everyone. We are court-ordered to evict. And the New York Times even documented the sheriff's humane eviction process during the pandemic. I'm just thankful no one died because bee allergies are very serious, if you don't know. I hope that these out-of-county protesters will reconsider using such extreme measures in the future because they will be charged and they will be prosecuted. We're always prepared for protests when it comes to evictions, of course, but the majority of the groups who protest understand we're just doing our duty in accordance with the law, you know? And, of course, this woman who traveled here put lives in danger, as several of the staff on the scene are actually allergic to the bees. We had one staff member go to the hospital. Luckily, he was all right. And she could be facing manslaughter charges. I support people's right to protest peacefully, but when you cross the line and put my staff and the public in danger, I promise you, you're going to be arrested. Well, this is pretty strange. So I'm not even sure if this lady owns the home that was being evicted. It says the guy keeps saying protester. So maybe she's just a protester who shows up when they're trying. How does she know when the police are going to come and evict somebody? And is that like public record? You can find out that they're coming at 10 a.m. and then you show up with your box of bees. This is a very strange story. But I agree with the police officers. You want to protest? That's fine. You can protest, but you don't bring boxes of bees and unleash them on the public like that. People are allergic to such things, you know, and it's a danger to anybody in the area. And I feel bad for the bees. I mean, they got a lot of work to do. They can't be held up by this kind of crap. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, but bees are struggling right now, all right? We got a drought going on, so I'd imagine there's not a lot of available sources of nutrition for them in their hive, you know, being that there's a drought. So they got extra work to do. They can't be fiddling around with some eviction notice. A Mexican priest known as Father Pistolas has been suspended. Let's find out why Father Pistolas has been suspended. Mexico's Roman Catholic Church has suspended a very controversial priest who has advised parishioners to carry guns to fight off the drug cartels. Better known as Father Pistolas, Reverend Alfredo Gallegos is a priest in the violence-plagued western state of Michoacan, who has himself sometimes carried a weapon. Well, I'd imagine he carries a weapon all the time. He's Father Pistolas. And this sounds to me like it could be appropriate behavior in this region of Mexico. I have heard these stories about the drug cartels. Maybe the advice of Father Pistolas to carry a gun on your person is appropriate advice given the circumstances. Let's keep reading, though. I don't want to make any assumptions. A circular from the Archdiocese of Morelia, the state capital, instructed other priests not to allow the Reverend Gallegos to celebrate Mass. While the Archdiocese did not answer phone calls seeking to confirm this order, a priest in a neighboring diocese who was not authorized to be quoted by name confirmed the authenticity of this order this week. The order did not specify a reason for the indefinite suspension imposed, saying only that Gallegos had been admonished on several occasions for something. Even for Michoacan, it was surprising when the Reverend Gallegos called from the pulpit in 2021 for parishioners to arm themselves against the warring drug gangs in the area. Here's a quote from the Reverend in a sermon. "The cartel gunmen come. They take the livestock. They screw your wife, they screw your daughter, and you do nothing. Well, get yourself a gun. The government can go to hell. We have to defend ourselves." That is a quote taken directly from Gallegos' sermon. And he's not wrong. The gunmen do steal, and I'd imagine they do screw your wife and your daughter. And it doesn't sound like the government's really doing anything to protect them, so yeah, you have to defend yourselves. It says here, Mexican law forbids most civilians from owning almost all firearms except for extremely low-caliber hunting rifles or shotguns. But it says here, Michoacan has a history of armed civilian self-defense and militia movements dating from 2013 and 2014. Back then, vigilantes managed to chase the dominant Knights Templar cartel out. But rival cartels like the Viagras and the Jalisco cartel have moved in. Did I say that right? Viagras? Or is it Viagras? Viagras is a very funny name for a cartel. These guys come to your city and they have raging boners. They will screw your daughter. Okay, so kidnappings, killings, and shootings have prompted thousands of people to flee their homes in this area over the years. I mean, we've heard about these cartels. They're horrible. You probably should arm yourselves, man. I want to arm myself when I go to the Walgreens over here. Jeez. They cite an example of another reverend in the area, Gregorio Lopez, a priest known for once wearing a flak vest while celebrating Mass, has spent the last few years running shelters for people who have fled their homes due to all this violence. He also tried to get asylum or refugee status for Michoacan residents in the U.S. Mexico, turns out, is a very notoriously dangerous country for priests' own personal safety. Over the summer, 2 priests and a tour guide were gunned down in a church in Mexico. The church's Catholic Multimedia Center claims 7 priests have been murdered under the current administration, and at least 24 under the former president, who took office in 2012. In 2016, 3 priests were killed in just 1 week in Mexico. Well, then it sounds to me like this Father Pistolas isn't really out of bounds, suggesting that people arm themselves. Sounds like a dangerous area. And, you know, I like to see churches and people of the clergy helping the community in ways other than just speaking in the pulpit, honestly. I like it when they do community outreach, this sort of thing. I mean, at this point, we need more than sermons to get us through the world. I don't know if you're paying attention, but it's morphing into an extremely dangerous place, the world that we live in. And we need help from everyone, including your clergy. But maybe you guys disagree. Is Father Pistolas out of line for suggesting that his followers arm themselves? Is he out of line for carrying a gun on his daily walk to and from the pulpit? I'm going to say no, but call the show 646-450-2012. Yay! Oh, hey, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for sticking with me for the entire episode of Weird AF News. We are now entering the outro, where I give some thanks and praise. First, I want to thank you for spending a little time with my podcast. There's a gazillion of them out there. You could have went anywhere, but you listen to Weird AF News, and I'm very appreciative of your time. On YouTube, I got a lovely comment from Kristen J. She said, "Hello, I'm a new listener to your show, and I absolutely love it. Thank you for brightening up my day with the hilarious, absurd, and sometimes confusing news of the day. Keep up the great work, and good luck with your life, man." Yeah, thank you, Kristen. Good luck with your life, man, as well. That's a very nice comment. I got some good ones on YouTube. I got some pretty ornery ones as well. People tend to get a little ornery on the tube of you. Yeah, you're wondering, I didn't know Weird AF News was on YouTube. Yes, of course it is. I got to be everywhere these days, guys. So you can find me on there. And there's actually some video of me recording as well if you want to check that out. I want to make more of those, but it's hard to fit a whole camera crew in the closet. You know what I mean? I mean, the last time the two men that were running the camera were just very uncomfortable in my hot closet, you know, and at very close range of me. That made them very uncomfortable as well, because I don't wear a shirt when I record, so they were like, "This is a little weird." I'm just kidding. I didn't put two guys in my closet. Just seeing if you're paying attention. Anyways, if you guys would like to support the show, Weird AF News, just tell a friend. That'd be superb. Tell a friend that this is a podcast that they need in their life. Maybe they listen to mainstream news on a daily, and that makes them feel very underwhelmed and unexcited to go about their life. Well, then Weird AF News comes across your plate, and then it inspires you, right? Sometimes the stories themselves are inspiring. Sometimes the behavior of the human beings in our world is just so horrible and debilitating. It just makes you feel better about your situation. So that's another thing that's going on. I think it's called psychology. Anyways, if you guys would like to call the show, please do. I left the number in the segments. You can also email me, funnyjones@gmail.com, or follow me on the Instagram, @funnyjones as well. Thank you.